Transition is a documentary series about making the shift from employee to employer and starting your own business. We interview business owners and entrepreneurs. We ask them about their experiences and opinions on a wide range of topics in order to provide you helpful tips and insights on how to be successful in your venture.
The Transition, Episode 2.
My name is Mel Keys, and my company is named after myself, Pastor Mel Keys Incorporated. The services and the products I provide are in the area of faith-based products to empower people who are in the areas of ministry, entrepreneurship, and leadership. I help them to reach higher levels of success.
Yes, my name is Dr. Ron Kelly. I'm the CEO of the National School Improvement Corporation, called NSI. And what we do, we're an education company that provides staff development for schools, and we also publish materials for various schools, CDs, workbooks, different types of things like that. And we're also known for training in corporations and things like that, motivational presentations, motivational speaking. So really everything in the educational world, that's us.
My name is Laura Thompson with Laura Thompson SA. I'm a social entrepreneur. I'm an author, ghostwriter, publisher, and networking mastermind.
Well, I was a principal, and I got the idea to start this company because I was really about improving my school. And then I got the idea that if I can do this, I had a lot of success as a principal. And I said, there are other schools right down the street that are struggling. So if I could produce this success with one school and all these other schools are struggling, I could do this around the world and help a lot of kids. So that's when I got the idea to start my company. And, you know, it was just a wild idea, something I thought I'd do on the side. Next thing you know, it took off and I was speaking all over the nation. So, you know, it's all about improving schools. Yes.
Well, I've been in the media and public relations business for about 17 years, and a lot of that requires writing. I published a book in 2007, a book of poetry, and I published a couple of Who's Who books. As a matter of fact, 4 Who's Who books. The first 3 were focused on the African American market, and the last one was focused on women. And I went to a conference in Austin, and I introduced myself and I said that I was a writer. You know, part of what I did was writing. And so a group of ladies approached me and said they were interested in having someone write their book. And so I decided to capitalize on it. I've had different people to encourage me to pursue writing more. And people have just come to me with opportunities to write their books for them, and so I decided, why not?
I've made many, but one of the biggest ones is waiting for perfect conditions, for there are none. There are so many tools that you'll have to continue to chase after. Things change. As soon as you get one thing right, you got to go to something else. So it's never a matter, at least from my perspective, of reaching there, of arriving. It's always a journey, always a process. And some of the mistakes I've made in the past were waiting for the right moment. I literally could have been, and perhaps even should have been, doing what I'm doing now years ago.
One of the biggest mistakes is trying to do it all myself. I basically, at one point when the business took off right at the beginning, I was doing a lot of national travel, you know, back to back to back to back because, you know, I thought I have to do this. I had to be there, Then one day it hit me, this is why companies have employees, because you can't do it all yourself. So I thought it had to be me. It had to be all about me, you know, as far as that. And then I realized that you find good people to do it. So that was my main mistake at the beginning, was trying to do it all. I think that's a common mistake of all business owners, you know, to do that. So my advice to a lot of people is find talent. You know, you have to be the brain of the operation, have to be able to do all the jobs at once. But as you see people that come along throughout your travels and as you're doing business, pick them up because they can take your business to the next level like that.
Yeah, 2 books, The Magic of Thinking Big and The Laws of Success. The Magic of Thinking Big taught me that it takes just as much energy to think small than it does to think big, and it takes just as much energy to accomplish a small goal than it does to accomplish a big goal. And so that really opened my eyes, and I was already a big thinker anyway, but I thought something was wrong with that because I came from a family that just worked 9 to 5 mostly, and parents that worked 9 to 5, and so they would always tell me that I needed to get a real job and that she's always thinking about doing all these things, and so the book really kind of validated the fact that it was okay to think big and dream big. And then the other book was The Laws of Success, and it talked about 13 different principles that you had to master to be successful. And so an attorney gave me that book. She saw potential in me, and she gave me a book called The Laws of Success. Primarily, I think now because she wanted me to kind of see what the steps were to get to a successful business.
I love to read, and I love conferences, seminars, and workshops and things of that sort. One of my favorite authors in particular, he's with the Lord now, Dr. Miles Monroe, recently passed away a few months ago. But he's written so many books that I've read, but one of them in particular was about the pursuit and purpose of vision. And that book was very transformational for me because vision became one of my subjects of passion. I really love to study about the area of vision, the concept, and to teach on that as well. In fact, my first book that I wrote, Hell to the No, is a book based on vision. So I would say that was one of the key transformational experiences of reading his book and really getting into it.
One of them is you set your own hours. I work. I like what I do, so I work when I get ready, but I also work when I have to. But the benefits of being able to block off time and schedule time to do what I need to do is a big benefit to me.
Well, the main one is your time. A lot of people say that, when you own your own business, you're working 24/7, which is true. You're working all the time, constantly and all of that. But being able to make time to pick my son up from school every day, or make time to, take a vacation in the middle of the week if I need to, that is one of the great advantages, that control of your time. Because when you're working in corporate America, they technically own your time. If you normally get out at 5 o'clock, but this project is required till 9 p.m., well, all your plans get canceled because that big 6-figure job takes priority and you got to be in the office. So owning your own business, having that ability to just kind of pull the plug when you need to, or if your child is sick or something and you're able to say, I'm going to take the day off. That's one of the great advantages to it,
Particularly in the business that I'm in, which is helping people to grow further and to accomplish things on a higher level, is very challenging, but it's also fulfilling. As you seek to help other people, there's a side benefit. You're always helping yourself. So I'm finding it literally impossible to help others to grow without growing in the process. So that's been a side benefit that, you can't even put a price tag on it.
Right. My advice for people, one is don't listen to all this talk. There's too much talk about start your own business, be an entrepreneur, to where you have people doing that just because it's trendy and just because that's the new cool thing to do. What I say is find your talent. If you have a talent in something, that talent may be used working for a big company. It may be used, you don't have to start your own business. You have to find out what fits you, because starting your own business is not for everyone, because the long hours. I wake up at 2 in the morning with an idea that I have to write down real quick and things like that. And when I worked as a principal, once my job was done, it was done. I put in those long hours, but when you go home, it's over. But owning your own business is nonstop. So I would say Find your talent, find something you love to do, because you're going to be doing it all day, every day. So you have to really do that, and don't listen to others. Don't do things for the fame or the money and all that, because all of the successful people that you see, they weren't aiming for that. They were just pursuing something they love. So that's the biggest mistake I see. A lot of people nowadays, they want to start their own business because it sounds good, or they want a business card with their name on it. You're not going to be successful like that. Just go for your true talent, and people will tell you. The public lets you know. They'll be like, hey, you're a good speaker, or you're good at video production, or you're good at this. Listen to people's cues, because they tell you what you're good at.
Do your homework and your research. If you are going into a particular field, you might want to know a little bit about it. Just because you can cook doesn't mean you can run a restaurant. And so you have to you might want to work at a restaurant first. Work from the ground up, work as a waiter or a waitress, work as a bus person, work as a cashier, work in management, work as a cook, but get that experience and learn the business and the operations portion of a business kind of before you go into it, or as you're going into it. Sometimes you can work in an environment and also start a part-time business. But you've got to be a little bit knowledgeable about the industry, because I've seen so many people go into businesses because they have one particular skill, but as an entrepreneur or business owner, you really have to know how to do every aspect of the business. You may not work in it every day, but if you have an employee that, a cashier that walks out, you have to be able to pick up the slack. If you have a waiter or waitress that walks out, you have to be able to pick up the slack and do those things.
You want to be very clear and do all the work necessary to discover your personal, I'll call it your blueprint, your DNA. Your vision is in that. Every one of us are unique. We have a lot of things in common, but we're very unique. We're very rare. You have to see yourself that way, and you have to be so specific, knowing who you are and why you're here. And once you put in the necessary time, energy, effort, and even emotion to discover that, put everything you got into it. Everything, and don't look back.
I'd like to give a special shout out and thank you to Pastor Mel Keys, Dr. Ron Kelly, and Laura Thompson. We appreciate your time, your insight, and your efforts. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay tuned for episode 3 of The Transition.